my favorite parts of this show is bringing you fire conversation, right? Today will be no exception. I love bringing black men on. I love letting them speak for themselves. I will repeat over and over and over and over again. So often, everybody want to speak for them, speak on their behalf, speak on their blood on the streets. But very few people want to actually stop and let them speak for themselves. Gives me great pleasure to make that a focal point of what we do here on Sonnie's Corner. So, without any further ado, let's go in and bring in fire conversation number one of the day, Diante Johnson. What's up, bro?
Hey, Sonnie, how are you?
Blessed and highly favored, you know it.
That is the only way to be. Thank you for having me on.
No problem at all. This has been a conversation long in the making. Um, so this is how we do. First, you are a first time guest. Your first time on this show. That means you get to open up and choose conversation. You can tell everybody about. You can introduce yourself to everybody. You can start on a specific topic. You can tell us about something you're doing. Anything you want. The floor is yours. It's open.
Wow. I don't get that opportunity often. But, I'm Diante Johnson, president of the Black Conservative Federation. And, one of the very interesting conversations that's happening right now is we have a lot of black candidates running on the conservative side. Right now, 82 to be exact. And we have a lot of good candidates and we have some bad candidates. And we have some that's in between. And one of the questions that I get asked a lot is, how do you decipher? Okay. Question someone asked me, they said, you're the president of the Black Conservative Federation. The Black Conservative Federation is only endorsing 8 candidates out of 83. Why is that? And the simple answer to that is, and I would love your input on it, Sonny, is the simple answer to that is that running for office does not equal black outreach. And so many people think, well, I'm going to do black outreach, and that entails me running for office and telling my community that this is where you messed up at, this is where our community sucks at. But instead of jumping into the community and doing the work and then deciding to run for office, they run for office and explain all of the flaws in the community instead of doing the work in the community.
That's why when people ask me all the time, why don't you run for office? Why don't you run for office? I'm like, do you know how much work there is? Like, you like run for what office? How? Like, you want, and this is one of the things that I don't understand about like a lot of the black candidates that are running. Majority of them are trying to choose federal seats. You know what I'm saying, to go to when there are actual problems that need to be solved are on a local level. And like you said, they have no attachment to black outreach, nor do they have any partnership with the Republican Party to bring that outreach to fruition. So you have nothing but the fact that you were able to file a paper by a deadline. That's specifically what you have in terms of support for a campaign. But then they put out that they're running and they get all of these likes and follow, me. And they take that clout as doing something positive for Black America. And it just baffles me why they think that's real work.
And, I laugh at that because there's sometimes, and as someone who I general consult on multiple campaigns around the country, I laugh at it because Twitter doesn't elect. It's like they used to say, yard signs doesn't elect, Twitter doesn't elect, okay? And so they'll get all these retweets, they'll get all these viral tweets, but guess what? Not a single person in their congressional district has liked their post. They may have 3,000 or 10,000 likes on a post or tweet, and no one, not a single soul, not even a campaign staff, if they have it, has liked their post.
I would think, do you know what the most glaring example I think of that, especially coming out of Georgia yesterday, Tuesday, was Vernon Jones. right? So he can get on Twitter and say like the most obnoxious things about Black America, but still, I'm gonna run. He can get a Trump endorsement. Nobody in his district showed up. He got totally clobbered in his district. Now, there's 100,000 reasons why I am happy that that occurred. But it just goes to show you, like, he has this popularity with the people that say outrageous things, but that does not equate to votes on the ground.
Well, and what I and exactly, and I call that the elite mentality, the elite strategy. Okay, and so with my candidates, I tell them, I say, yeah, you can go to the Lincoln Day dinners, you can go to the Republican GOP meetings, you can go and post in the Republican circles. But what people fail to realize is there's a demographic that votes, but could care less what's happening on Twitter and the political circles, could care less what's happening on social media, could care less what Donald Trump is saying, could care less who Donald Trump is endorsing. They have real life issues, and they are going to work every day. They don't have time to sit on Twitter every day. They have a family that they're raising. They don't have time to do half the things. And so because of that, they're not going to the Republican Party GOP events, and they're not a part of the brick and mortar group of the GOP. They're just everyday citizens who vote and go to the polls and go home, work, and live their lives. Now, for us politicals, yes, we may eat, drink, and breathe politics, but unfortunately, millions of Americans don't do that. And so what you have to do is you have to go out and reach out to the community. You have to go door knocking. You have to go into the field. But before you do that, it's just because, and listen, Sonnie, you know I was on the Black Voices for Trump. You know that I am a Trumper, as many people may call me. However, Donald Trump endorsement is not going to be the end-all, be-all for you. Donald Trump endorsing you is not going to give you an instant win, just like George Bush endorsement or a Barack Obama endorsement for a Democrat. And that is the problem that candidates are saying. And so they all run down to Mar-a-Lago, pay all this money to go to fundraisers, to smile in Donald Trump's face, to try to get an endorsement. But guess what? It's not going to help you.
Not at
It's
all.
not.
So you say that there's this demographic of Black Americans that vote, right, and pay attention to politics. But there's also a huge demographic of Black people that don't vote, because they have come to this realization that voting doesn't change anything. You know what I'm saying? And they are right, because just voting for federal candidates, right? Every year, Republicans, or every 4 years, Republicans want you to vote for the president. Black people, you should vote for the president. When day to day, they are being governed by their local officials. And there are no Republicans coming in to challenge those local officials. Like, there's nobody that's coming in to challenge the people that govern them from day to day. And that has made them completely give up on the system altogether. And this is why I say you don't have Democrats worried right now about voter suppression. They're worried about voter depression. That people are just not going to come out. They're not going to show up. They're not going to vote. And I think Republicans don't quite understand it. Well, I know they understand it. I don't think that they care very much. If they can have it where Black people don't show up, then that's beneficial to them, as opposed to going out and winning that population, bringing those people in, making the base bigger, stronger. Like, why is that never the effort in moments like this, where it is so crystal clear that Black America is ready for ideological change?
Well, and that, you know, Sonnie, I'm glad you brought that point up, because you have city council members and state reps that are winning elections where only 2,000 people voted.
Yep.
Or some where only 500 people voted. You know, I always look at Chicago, where Lori Lightfoot got elected because of low voter turnout. You had maybe 300,000 people in the city of Chicago voting, and you have how many million people in Chicago? is that this is the problem that we have, is that people aren't showing up to polls. And so, but the question is how do we get people to show up to polls? How do we get people to care more about what's happening at the local level? Because I guarantee you, it is so much important to have, and I hear my conservative colleagues all the time say, we got to stop this indoctrination in schools, but yet I don't see my conservative colleagues running for school board. We have people talking about what's happening in their cities, but no one's running for city council. And the reason of it is, and I'm just going to be honest with it, is running for school board, running for city council, running for a county commission or anything in the county, it's not sexy. You can't raise too much money. You can't become Twitter famous off of it, so they don't do it.
And I think it's even worse than that, because if you just say it like that, that's one thing. But when you actually delve into it, because I've been behind the curtain for a long time, like they don't teach party structure. Like they don't want people to know party structure. They don't want people to know how it works. If they start teaching grassroots people party structure, how the system works, which groups you go to, which regional positions are able to affect massive change over certain areas. Like if you started actually teaching conservatives the structure of the political party, then you would have them taking over that political party. So this is why, like, when they look at people like Donald Trump, they expect Donald Trump to just be the be all end all, fight every battle, win every battle on our behalf. You don't need us to show up. You don't need us in position. And then when you have a Donald Trump come in and endorse a person like McCarthy, then they can't understand, like, well, why would he do that? Why would he select? Because he needs someone who knows the system. He needs someone that knows how everything works. You aren't going into the system and taking those positions, getting those roles, filling those gaps. You aren't taking over the party. So if he wants to be effective, he has to have at least some people who know how to play within the system.
Absolutely. And that's where a lot of people just don't understand, politics. They don't understand Donald Trump. They don't understand any of this. They don't even understand the games that McCarthy and Mitch McConnell has to play just to make it's chess. And when you don't come in and understand it, that is the problem. That is why I'm always encouraging people. I hear a lot of people come to me, they send me messages, they say, oh, I'm a new conservative. Where do I start? How do I get involved? And the first places I say is go to your county GOP meeting. Don't go anywhere else. Go to your county GOP meeting. Start locally. Not just don't run local, but start locally. Okay? And I guarantee you will understand just how this party works more than ever. You will understand that state parties is what runs the national party. You will understand that county parties is what runs the state party. You will understand that it's the importance of a precinct committeeman or a ward leader, or you will understand the purpose of those everyday individuals in these very important positions.
And most of them, most of the people that are in the most important positions, we don't even know their name. And nope. That is what, like, if you really got to understand how easy it would be to actually go and infiltrate this party, I can't imagine more people wouldn't do it. So I have the power to make Diante the head of Black Outreach, right? You have at your disposal everything that you need to do what you consider to be outreach. What does that look like?
Well, the first thing is embracing the community, okay? So many people come into these Black outreach roles and really want to come in and change things, but they really want to come in and have the answer to everything and just do the plans. The first thing that I always believe in every community is talking to the stakeholders, talking to the activists. Everyone has a need and has a want, and unfortunately, we don't do that. Also, unfortunately, we don't give people a voice. We don't listen. We don't do a listening to it. We don't listen to the concerns that community members are having because we say, well, it's happening all over, and we listen to Fox News and CNN and the national media, and this is what's happening. But unfortunately, that may not be what the people in Chicago are concerned about. That may not be what the people in Richmond are concerned about. That may not be what the people in every city has its own concerns, and you have to start there. You have to embrace people who are on the ground every day, people who are living this life. You have to embrace the pastors. You have to embrace the business owners. You have to embrace the activists. You even got to embrace the people who just want to sit around and talk. Because what that does is that opens up the table. That creates the table, and then you can then make decisions. For an example, when I was doing Black outreach for Glenn Youngkin, Governor Youngkin and I had a conversation, and Governor Youngkin said, well, Diante, I don't know how to answer some of these questions. And I said, good. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to have the answer to it. Politicians oftentimes make the biggest mistake on trying to come into Black communities with a plan. Stop coming into Black communities with a plan because you don't know what Black communities are even going through.
I remember Kevin Daniels told me, he was like, I went into a meeting, and when Youngkin came in, he came in with a notepad. Like, you don't have people that come in with a notepad ready to take notes. You have people coming in ready to dictate. So when you see
Correct.
someone come in and they have a notepad and they're ready to take notes and listen, you see that you're on a completely different caliber with the conversation than with a lot of previous people. You're hearing this talk now that this is the year of the Black Republican. Do you think that this is the year of the Black Republican? And I'm going to close it out with this.
Do I think it's the year of Black Republicans? I definitely think that we will definitely add, we'll add 2 more Black Republicans off the back to Congress. I'm saying, we'll definitely add John James and Wesley Hunt. Depending on how Tuesday go, we'll add T.W. Shannon from Oklahoma. But do I think it's the year of Black Republicans? I wouldn't necessarily say that.
And I was wondering because everybody's like, oh, we're so optimistic. And there's reason to be optimistic because you see Black Americans fleeing from the Democratic Party. So it's like it should be obvious that but it's not obvious because Black Republicans are not doing things that are necessary to capture that fleeing population from the Democratic Party. And it's like infuriating to sit and watch.
Well, Sonnie, I'll tell you this. Just because you left the party doesn't mean you came home. And that's the biggest problem that people don't understand is that people are leaving the Democratic Party. That doesn't mean they're conservative, or that doesn't mean that they're Republicans. And that's the biggest mistake. Republicans love taking in strays. I don't know why. So you love taking in strays and then wonder why 2 years later they end up cracking up or going crazy or being very liberal or what have you. And so we have to, when we bring people in and bring them under our rank, we have to start to give training, okay? And that's why just because you say you're conservative and you left the Democratic Party does not mean you can come and be a part of the Black Conservative Federation. Can't speak for any other organization, but I can speak for the Black Conservative Federation, is that once you come in, we'll welcome you, but we're going to welcome you where you're getting involved in your state party, where you're getting involved in your county party, where you're becoming a precinct committee, where you're learning how this party actually runs, but you're also learning, who the players are and how to respect the game and the process.
Hey, that's a mic drop right there. That's a mic drop moment right there. Thank you so much for coming through, Diante. I appreciate the fire conversation, and we'll make sure we get you back on the show for more.